There are some artifacts that archaeologists dig up, dust off, and proudly put in a museum. And then there are the ones they quietly lock away, or bury, or just stop talking about altogether. Today we're looking at 10 more ancient objects experts warned people not to study. Some of these are too fragile to touch, some are in places too dangerous to excavate, and some, honestly, I think they just don't want us to know what they find. This is a tiny remote island in northern Russia, and scattered across it are 14 stone labyrinths. These aren't small garden mazes. Some are over 40 feet across, made of carefully placed boulders arranged in perfect spirals. They're estimated to be up to 3,000 years old, and nobody, absolutely nobody, knows who built them or why. The local tradition, you don't enter them. They're considered thresholds to the underworld, places where spirits dwell. And here's the thing, archaeologists can't even agree on what they were used for. Some say ritual, some say fish traps, which makes absolutely zero sense, some say portals. What I do know is that people still visit the island today and come back with stories about feeling watched while walking the spirals. Take from that what you will. In 1961, 3 rock hunters were out in the mountains of California when they found a geode, a round, crystal-lined rock that takes hundreds of thousands of years to form. They cut it open, and inside was a spark plug, a 1920s champion spark plug, encased in rock that a geologist estimated was 500,000 years old. Now look, I know, the obvious answer here is that the geologist was wrong, or the rock wasn't as old as they thought, or it wasn't a real geode. But the people who found it, they weren't conspiracy theorists, they were just guys looking for rocks, and the artifact has never been properly debunked to the satisfaction of everyone. The spark plug still exists, you can see it, and the question remains, how does a piece of 20th century technology end up inside a rock that was supposedly formed 500,000 years before humans walked the earth? I don't know. I genuinely don't know, and that's the kind of thing that keeps me up. In 1933, a Mexican archaeologist named Jose Garcia Payan was excavating a burial site near Toluca, Mexico. He dug through 3 intact pyramid floors, sealed, undisturbed layers, and found a burial offering. Inside it was a small terracotta head. And here's the problem. It doesn't look Mesoamerican. It looks Roman. Bearded, European features, Roman-style hair, found in a tomb that predates Columbus by, well, a while. If this head is authentic, and it was found beneath 3 sealed floors, so something would have had to go very wrong for it to be planted, it means Romans or someone from the Mediterranean reached the Americas over 1,000 years before anyone was supposed to be here. Mainstream archaeology has largely dismissed it. The suggestion that it was planted by a jealous colleague has been floated, but the artifact is real. The burial was sealed, and nobody's come up with a satisfactory explanation that doesn't involve rewriting history. If you thought a Roman head in Mexico was weird, wait until you hear this one. Near a lake in Bolivia, a massive stone bowl was discovered in the 1950s. It's covered in carvings. On one side, typical Andean imagery, animals, human figures. On the other side is Sumerian cuneiform, writing from ancient Mesopotamia, on a bowl found in South America. And it gets stranger because the cuneiform was actually translated. The inscriptions are apparently a prayer to a Sumerian goddess in a language that shouldn't exist anywhere near the Andes. The academic community has mostly refused to engage with this artifact. It's been called a hoax, a misinterpretation, a weird coincidence, but nobody's been able to explain how or why a fake would have authentic Sumerian script that can actually be read. And the bowl just sits there in a museum in Bolivia, largely ignored by the people who should be most interested. Isn't history fun? In 1992, a villager in China's Zhejiang province drained what he thought was a pond. It wasn't a pond, it was actually the entrance to a massive underground complex. 24 chambers carved entirely by human hands, covering over 30,000 square meters. These aren't natural caves. Every wall, ceiling, and pillar has precise, uniform chisel marks. 60-degree angles, evenly spaced, running parallel across the entire surface. Here is what makes this genuinely baffling. There is no record of who built these. None. China has 3,000 years of meticulous written history, and nobody thought to mention 24 massive underground chambers? No tools were found, no construction debris, not a single artifact that explains who did this or why. The caves are open to visitors now, but the sheer scale of the mystery and the fact that we still have no answers after 3 decades of study has led some researchers to suggest that maybe we shouldn't be opening every chamber just yet. There are things underground that were hidden for a reason, I'm just saying. This is often called the oldest known star map in the world, a bronze disc inlaid with gold showing the sun, the moon, and the Pleiades star cluster. It is 3,600 years old, and it was discovered by treasure hunters with metal detectors, who then sold it on the black market, who were then caught in a police sting operation in a Swiss hotel. So right from the start, this whole discovery is a mess. And because of that, the Nebra Sky Disk has been at the center of a brutal academic war for years. One camp says it's authentic, a Bronze Age masterpiece. The other camp says it's 1,000 years younger than claimed, or possibly just a complete forgery. Both sides have published papers calling each other wrong. There have been lawsuits, there have been accusations of research manipulation, and through all of this, the disk just sits there, behind glass, one of Germany's most prized cultural treasures. But here's the thing, if it is real, it rewrites what we know about Bronze Age astronomy. If it's fake, it's one of the most elaborate archaeological frauds in history, and the fighting over it has gotten so ugly that some people in the field quietly wish the treasure hunters had never dug it up at all. I'm just saying, if I found an ancient artifact with my little beep beep metal detector, I'm not selling it on the black market, okay? I'm gonna become an archaeologist. This is my one shot. Scattered across the hills of northern Laos are thousands of massive stone jars. Some of them are over 10 feet tall. So when I say massive, I mean massive. Some weigh several tons. They're believed to be part of an ancient burial practice dating back to the Iron Age. But here's the thing, you can't just walk up and study them, because this region is still full of unexploded bombs. I bet you weren't expecting me to say that. Between 1964 and 1973, the United States dropped over 270 million cluster bombs on Laos, making it the most heavily bombed country per capita in human history. And tens of millions of those bombs never detonated. They are still there in the ground around the jars. So archaeologists who want to study this site have to work with bomb disposal teams. Every step is calculated. Every new excavation risks finding a jar or triggering a decades-old explosive. What a fun game. The Plain of Jars is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most dangerous archaeological landscapes on the planet. The warning here isn't ancient. It's modern, and it's still very, very real. In 1993, archaeologists excavating a Neolithic lake settlement in northern Greece pulled a wooden tablet out of the mud. It was covered in linear markings, symbols carved into the wood, and when they radiocarbon dated it, the results came back at roughly 5,260 BC. That makes this tablet potentially the oldest known example of writing in Europe, thousands of years older than the earliest Mesopotamian writing systems. So why haven't you heard of it? Because the tablet cannot be exposed to air. The moment it's removed from the anaerobic conditions of the lake bed, it begins to deteriorate. It has to be kept submerged, which means studying it is nearly impossible without potentially destroying it. There is writing on this tablet, we know that much, but what it says, what knowledge a 7,000-year-old European civilization chose to preserve, remains locked in wood that would crumble if we tried to read it. And that, to me, is one of the most frustrating mysteries in all of archaeology. But I'm glad we're leaving it there, okay? I'm glad we are protecting it. This is a 5,000-year-old underground temple in Malta, carved entirely from solid rock 3 levels deep. It was discovered accidentally in 1902 when construction workers broke through the ceiling, and what they found inside reshaped everything we thought we knew about prehistoric Malta. Over 7,000 bodies were buried here, and a portion of the skulls recovered showed extreme elongation, not through binding, but naturally formed, which has led to decades of debate about who exactly these people were. But the most unsettling feature of the Hypogeum is the oracle chamber, a small niche carved into the wall that, when you speak into it in a deep voice, amplifies the sound to echo through the entire complex. Every chamber, every level, like the entire temple was designed around this one spot. Today, only 80 people per day are allowed inside. The microclimate is tightly controlled, the wait list is months long, and honestly, after hearing about the echoes and the elongated skulls and the 7,000 bodies in the dark, maybe a limited capacity isn't the worst thing. Standing in a quiet field in southern Sweden is a 9th century granite stone covered in 700 runes. It's the longest runic inscription in the world. For centuries, scholars thought it was a memorial, a tribute to a dead son. But in 2020, a team of researchers from 3 Swedish universities proposed a completely new translation, and what they found was genuinely chilling. According to their reading, the Rök Runestone isn't a memorial, it's a warning. The inscription describes a coming climate catastrophe. 3 years without summer, the sky turning red, the sun being swallowed. It references a solar storm that occurred in 536 AD that turned the sky blood red and caused crops to fail across the northern hemisphere. And the author of this stone seems to have believed it was coming again, that the end of the world was already in motion. The Vikings, the people we think of as fearless warriors, were apparently so terrified of an impending climate apocalypse that they carved a 700 rune warning into a 5-ton stone. And now, 1,200 years later, we're reading it in our own era of red skies and failing crops. I don't know, guys. Maybe some warnings aren't meant for their time. Maybe they're meant for the people who dig them up later. All right, guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye!